Okay, so we're gonna start recording here. Yep, that works. And it's got my mic and should be able to hear you guys as well. Can you try speaking?
Hello.
Awesome. Okay. Let's get this sound quality or sound settings down. Okay. Welcome to VOD Review. For those who were not able to make it in person, I'm going to be looking at the matches from 217-25. We went 1-3, I believe.
Mhm.
When we were there, we said that we were lacking cohesion as our main-sided source of pain. So I'm going to take a look at that first map that I was not in. And we'll take a look. History. Oh, yeah. What is it?
Discord stream?
Oh, yeah. I got you.
You have it as a spectator?
No, but I have the code. But it's like,
Yeah.
where do you do it again?
It's his match replays and favorites.
Ah, yes.
Search replay ID
Excellent. Excellent.
because that makes sense.
Excellent. Okay. Invite. I'm in Discord. Okay. So, do you remember what our thought process for bands were here? We banned Bruce because they were
hmm
playing. Were they playing Bruce last round?
That last round I think was Venom Magneto.
Gotcha. They we protect Storm makes sense, and then we didn't ban anything. Okay.
Because we were too busy yelling over each other.
Yeah. That's part of cohesion, isn't it? Well, okay. So
Yeah.
I would say, as for bands, at this point, I wouldn't worry too hard about trying to like 40 chess the bands. Just keep it simple. Like, if the enemy team has a character that's harassing us and getting a lot of value, let's just target ban those on the maps, especially if we think they're strong. Otherwise, like, if we don't really feel like we need to ban anything, then like, just pick some.
Wolverine.
Wolverine is a very simple one because a lot of people don't like Wolverine specifically because it's very easy for him to get a baseline amount of value without trying too hard and can kind of harass your tanks. So like, and he's just not as fun to play against. So that's a big reason why people ban him. Another common ban is Bruce because of the team up with Strange and Iron Man. Very strong, and Bruce himself is also just very strong. People also ban Storm, but we play Storm, so we don't necessarily need to do that. Because Storm
If we
also gives
want
that AoE.
because if we want because we play Storm ban Namor.
Does Storm have a bad matchup into Namor?
I just mean like thinking of Storm and also the characters we play. Because yes, it's the hit scan turrets. But also just like we play some backliners as well.
Yeah. I mean, just be careful banning Namor, because like I feel like he's a lot stronger when you're going like divier characters. Uh, and like the comp we have right now isn't the most divey in general because we can kind of play back and shoot them and take angles. Where I think that kind of wins out against Namor a little bit. I would say like
Mm.
banning Namor is good if you're looking to go more dive, more mobility and aggression. Like if you're gonna go Spider-Man, Venom, for example,
hmm
banning Namor can be a really nice one. Or at the very least, is something I learned recently. Banning Luna Snow can be good because the part of what makes Namor so annoying is with his team up with Luna Snow, his turrets give slow, which is pretty
hmm
obnoxious. Here, one sec. Okay, I'm back. But as I was saying, banning Luna Snow in general is just really a great idea. IMO, just simply because that 12-second ult is really strong. But if then again, look at our situation here. Like this is another thought process where like maybe we don't always need to ban the best heroes, especially if we intend to play them. Like Doom, you're currently on Luna Snow, and they are not. So it's like if they're not even running Luna Snow, why ban her? We can just abuse the fact they're not banning and get a 12-second ult, right? So there's a meta to it. There's common thought processes and leanings, but you really, at the end of the day, this is something I really want you guys to be thinking about is is my opponent doing? You need to use your bans to target what they're doing specifically and to force them to adapt their gameplay or lose. At the end of the day is the best use of your ban. Okay, so we'll move on from that for now. So we're very slowly taking space here. So we've got both our tanks main. I remember we were calling to go right side here. I think that was another part of that cohesion thing we were talking about, because we mentioned to go right. Honestly, what I think happened here was we were calling to go right, and I bet you some people in their minds were thinking, oh yes, there's 2 lanes here, left and right. When in actuality, we were talking about this angle. Just for those who were unaware. But again, on that topic of cohesion, like if you are not used to playing in the team environment, you have to actively practice the skill of listening to your teammates, right? So, here, sorry, these guys are loud. They like threw my brain off. Okay. Yeah, like if you feel like you don't listen very well in a team environment, you could honestly practice like not saying anything and just don't be afraid to let your gameplay falter at the expense of like listening to what your teammates are doing and trying to make a decision based on that. And sometimes when it comes to listening to your teammates, it doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, if one person says they're going right side and taking a flank, it doesn't mean the entire team has to go right side. It means one set of people are taking an angle right side, and we could have like, I don't know, maybe our Hawkeye play main and just keep doing pot shots from like far away, right? But then if we get that angle right side, once they start to collapse, like maybe we get this angle, then you as Hawkeye is like, okay, we're getting pressure on this Doctor Strange, then I can walk up. So thinking about what the macro play is for the team and really trying to consider what you should be doing to contribute to that. And if you're ever not sure of how to contribute to a plan or an idea, that's when you need to be having that conversation outside of the game with your teammates about like, okay, this was the idea, this is the play, I don't know where I fit in that scenario. And part of that is like, we're not the most adept at picking comps that like are fully synergizing with each other yet, which is fine because there's a lot of interactions that we just don't know. But that's going to be the sort of baseline to building that cohesion. And at the end of the day, like, cohesion is something that is fought for and built by you, the player. Like, there's only so much I could coach before you guys have to talk to each other and come reach that understanding. Camera speed? No way. What was that button? What did I just press? Oh my. Oh! I found it. I've unlocked more skills. Okay. We'll keep going here. So we've got a little bit of an angle. We got the Magneto taking right. We're doing it, but it's a little slow. Zach is playing main, which I think is fine. Doom is kind of playing in between the two. We've got a full rotate. Now, is Zach going to hold this main? I think he could. Yeah. He's going for the full rotate. Yeah, so notice Zach there just lost some potential. Now, he does have to worry about, like, a lingering Strange, but, like, if you have range and they're not pushing you and there's no threat on you, I mean, you don't have to switch your position at all, because if they're going to rotate to match this this angle, like, up top here or, like, down here, notice how they might play back here, but, like, you as Hawkeye, you could take this angle, and now you're sort of you're creating a crossfire, which is a very, like, that's like FPS fundamentals right there, creating a crossfire. Everything in this game, kind of in any hero shooter, is dictated by angles, and it's like the comp that you're playing just determines the type of angles, whether they be short range or long range. So if you're a long range character, you probably want a long range angle. If you can, the only like downside is that when you're playing like this, you're playing isolated and alone, which means if they have high mobility, you might get forced out or even killed. But the only like mobility on their team is Doctor Strange would have to stand right here and shift up, and the other than that, like the only real other threat is like a Penny who uses her F. But if she's just not paying you any mind, use the entire map. There's no reason not to do it. If they're not going to punish you, use it. Okay. So those in the crowd right now, what have you guys noticed about our setup? What else? How else do you think we could be taking this?
Have either Invisible Woman or Luna Snow go up top, where Storm is.
Up here?
Yep. Or at the very least, Hawkeye.
Actually, how do you have to shoot this, right? And like jump across from here? Is that the way
Yeah.
to do it? Okay.
Or Invisible Woman can just use her double jump.
Can she? Okay. Yeah, you can like jump here, I guess. That'd be good. And even just like small note against Penny or anyone who with buildable turrets like Namor or Penny, before you like fully walk in like this, that's you. Before you walk in like this, you've got range. There's no reason you can't just sit here in the safety of your home and shoot that before walking up, because now you're just going to be taking.
I think my thought process was to contest point, but there's open space just to the right of it. I stood in.
Yeah, well, in like
Teammate behind me.
and contesting point is not necessarily going to do anything yet either, because they've got people on point. Like unless you're actively going to be pushing them, which you might be able to, but like Magneto has a lot of range. You can contest these guys by like from here, because you can just shoot them.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to like leave your corner and your cover. That's the thing about poke characters, is that you kind of get value passively if they're not like forcing you
I
out.
get no benefit by being in their face.
I mean, you might be able to run them down with like a stun and force them out and like kill them straight up, but it wouldn't hurt you to like play it slower and like LOS those DPS and then shoot them there and then force them back to cover, and then once they force themselves back to cover, that maybe you start to walk and push them out, and then once they're forced back, then when these guys try to push up, then you can contest them, and then you're just sort of managing all of their threats on their team, playing it slowly and carving out that map space rather than just trying to like hope they give it to you. Because you're just taking so much chip damage. Like, I think all of your health here is because of this turret right here. Which you're getting supported. Oh, this is another thing. Just as another macro concept that I want you guys to think about is, like, I saw Lux over here was, like, hard tunneling on the two people down here. Which is, like, okay, yeah, they're a little bit of a threat. But notice how when we're tunneling in one place, we're forgetting about something else. So just remember that, like, it's generally a good idea to always be trying to pay attention to what's happening in the fight, because if you ever find yourself with your back against 4 people for like 10, 15 seconds in the open, then it's no surprise that Lux is going to die, right? Lux is taking a lot of damage, which means little Undoubled can't get the resources, and then just ends up dying anyway. So yeah, like, notice that, and the biggest thing is, like, we're running the pokier comp and these guys are playing in the open. Literally just stand there and shoot them. Because look, now they're taking a bunch of pressure, we're forcing resources, but if we were doing that a little better, a little sooner, we wouldn't have this much forced out. But even despite that, Zaku ends up getting some kills. Okay, we've got Luna Snow ult, so we should be able to push, because I think we have ult advantage. So now that we have the ult advantage, now we should be pushing. Which we do, which is good. So I'm critiquing you guys, but you ended up winning that fight. Just know that, like, there's always details that you could work through even if you win. Let's see when it starts to get rough, though.
Anna starts having tech issues around this time.
Final game. I know I had a lot of trouble 1v1ing the Strange.
1v1ing the Strange as Magneto?
Yeah, or even just encounters with the Strange as Magneto.
Okay. So Strange is a lot scarier up close because being able to use his whip plus his left click increases his damage output on top of giving him more charge. is how his character works, right? And when he has more charge, if he hits the explosion on you, he's just doing a bunch of burst, where your damage is more consistent. Shot, 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 and then maybe a right click. But like, it's a little tougher, I'd say. Strange is objectively pretty good because he can block a lot of that damage. But like, if the Strange is just standing out in the open, your counter will be more or less, depending on your team comp, to just shoot his shield down, force him to play behind cover, and then when he doesn't have resources, then you push because he's less likely to be able to contest you because you forced out resources.
Yeah, I think what I mainly struggle with, the Strange on their team played incredibly aggressively. To the point where there was sometimes I was being chased down by them.
Okay,
And that's why
so earlier I said always be trying to pay attention to the playstyle of your opponent. So now let's try to come up with a solution in our heads of what we can do when the enemy team is hyper aggressive and we don't have a character that can handle that aggression as easily. And the answer is going to be preparation. If you're more prepared, and then you'll be able to counter it by forcing out resources before he gets right on top of you. So if he's never going to adjust his playstyle, if you end up getting like 2 or 3 shots on him, then his HP is going to be more like about half. And then if he's pushing aggressively, maybe you use your shift and your shield to like block his heals at the key pivotal moment. So like he's running you down, but you force out those resources and then you take that fight once you have the advantage. So let's see exactly how he does it here. So you currently don't have heals, so you gotta be careful. Now you just gotta stabilize. You're kind of chilling. You end up dropping. Okay. So are we? It looks like we're looking to peel this. How did Lux die? Lux is just sitting here. Venom's up in the air. Oh, Lux is just peeking the backline. Yeah. Too aggressive. You gotta play it. You gotta play that corner, farther back. Because Lux was looking at the Venom, who was getting pressure, but died to the angle from main. Okay. Whereas if Lux was playing a little safer, because I like this position from Cole actually taking this this high ground and denying it from like Venom and the rest of the team. This is a very good forward hold because Penny gets that sustain. Now I don't necessarily like the placement of the turret because that could be all the way back here and be a little safer. Because look, they can probably shoot it from here if they angle correctly. Yeah, see, they can shoot it very barely. Also, this Strange is super aggressive, so we should be like turning on him. I hope this guy dies. So you turn back around, which is actually good. But he gets out. So now we're down. Cole got forced out on top. Zach gets another kill. Dude, Zach was carrying this round, I'm not even gonna lie. So we're turning Venom. Oh, Cole died. Let's see, what was Cole doing? Oh, he got himself stuck. I think Cole just didn't use his abilities. I'm gonna be so for real. Yeah, Cole had everything and just walked in and died. Where I would have liked to see, like, this angle itself is already not great because it's very shallow into the Doctor Strange who can just turn and walk. I think if you played like back here, even if I'm pretty sure you can shoot this and make it go away. Even like 5 steps away, he's got more poke damage and more sustain, but he doesn't use anything. And you kind of come to try to help him, but he's just stuck. He didn't even use his F to get away. So just use your abilities, lol. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Okay, bunch of visual mess. No one's dying. Ours is later, which is good. Okay, now then we get the cleanup. Zach, you my goat, hitting all the headshots. Wait, did we get this kill? I forget. Did we like let him out? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, he lives? No way. Okay. Okay. Zach my goat killing everything. MVP. Quick little tech for you guys. This right here, you can shoot this, and it can prevent them from recontesting, which Zach does because he's the GOAT. Yeah, notice how. Can Venom get across it? He can, but it's harder for the supports too. So now we just shoot that guy because he's walking up, right? Oh, there's a Psylocke behind. Okay. All hands should be on deck killing this guy. Oh. That's a really good Lunisnow ult. Honestly, might have been able to squeeze that a little more, but it's good to not be risky. Oh, but then did Zaku get split? Oh yeah, he got collapsed because the supports got locked away, right? So yeah, keep that in mind when this door gets locked. If they can't walk, this is really important to know that this is where they're going to be appearing from. That's just kind of like a niche interaction that you should be aware of. But Zach got ganked by the support and the Psylocke, which I don't think we knew anything about the Psylocke at this point. So she got that kill, even during Lunisnow ult. Now we're going for Spider time. We probably could have waited on that until after Cloak ult to get the maximum value. Oh, now they got the extra ult. So some of us were calling to like kite this, and it looks like Cole just did not listen at all to that play. And same with, I think, Lux. Is Lux trying to get out? No, Lux is not trying to get out. Yeah, so we need to. I think Doom, you said it yesterday, or maybe it was today, about identifying push and pull.
Mm-hmm.
This was a moment where some players, like I think even you, were like, we should try to get out of here. I think I remember you saying that.
No, get to cover. Like, don't stay in the sight line.
Yeah, which you end up doing over here, which is actually quite good. But we need everyone to be on the same page. And honestly, sometimes you shouldn't even be waiting for your quote-unquote shot caller to be making that decision.
Realistically, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Realistically, I should have ulted that. I have my ult. I don't know why I didn't try to counter that.
You probably could have tried to, yeah. Because typically you want Magneto ult to counter Cloak and Dagger ult. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Because the way it works is it builds up the damage over time, and you wait till the very end. And that will do, especially if they shoot it even a little bit, it'll do a one-shot to Cloak, even in their ult. Because when they do the ult, they move forward, and
The pauses.
they're like standing still for a second. That's the opportunity for you to get the kill, and that's like a really high-value play for Magneto ult.
I still think it'd be viable, but I remember hearing that there's going to be they're doing an update where they're kind of nerfing the ult a little bit, and those pauses are going to be way shorter.
Oh, interesting.
I could have misheard, but like
That might be
I
true.
think you can only be affected by one pass at a time, healing or damage.
Oh,
and then-
is it not that way? I didn't know that.
I don't know. I think
I
you
guess
can be
the-
They stack, yes.
and
Yeah,
that-
they
If you,
that's fast.
as of right now, if you stack Luna, if you stack Cloak and Dagger roll, it will do 800 healing per second.
Yeah, they stack. Okay, that's interesting. But still, we'll see. We'll have to see how that interaction works on the new patch then. With Magneto ult, it probably still will be possible, but with more skill execution required. Technically, at the higher level, in order to counter that counter, they actually have Magneto bubble the Cloak and Dagger. Funnily enough, but
Magneto mirror match to counter Magneto.
yeah, right. He's so strong.
Also, the the flying cloak ult.
Y'all have fun.
So yeah, it'll be
Did
recorded.
you do that?
The flying cloak ult.
Flying cloak ult. You go cloak, and then you right click up into the air, and then ult in the air. The trail still goes on the ground, but it's much harder for him to hit you. He has to direct you, right?
Oh, because you're using Magneto ult to counter the cloak ult or the storm ult.
Are,
Oh,
are you
cloak.
talking about?
Cloak? You're talking about cloak. Sorry, in
Cloak,
my head
yeah.
you said cloak, and I was thinking storm. I was
Yeah,
confused.
flying cloak.
Yes.
Flying cloak ult.
Yes, doing it from the air. I have seen that.
Very strong.
So yeah, knowing those interactions, very, 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 very useful. And then being able to read the tempo, like when Hela uses her ult, she just has huge area denial, And if you can reach cover, which by the way, technically she can splash you here, so just a little bit of something to be careful about. The quicker you can get away, like if I was Cole here, if I just pressed F and escaped like through this hallway, he would not have died. It was simply a pressing buttons differential in that moment. And then Lux just walks in for brain off reasons. But like you're gonna counter a lot of people's ults at this level by just not engaging. And then that's when you can start to have the conversation of like, okay, we're gonna re-engage with this ult or that, right? You know, I'm just thinking, I feel like Penny Parker plus Hawkeye ult's gotta be an interesting combination, because I bet those explosives will hit multiple stacks. Okay, so Lux went Iron Man, which this is what the interpretation I have of the reason we did this was having the beam in order to peel against. That's a long range on the beam. Damn.
Yeah.
The idea appearing to me to be to beam down this Venom. I highly warn against playing Iron Man without the Hulk team up currently. I think it's getting rebalanced a little bit where normal Iron Man is going to be a little more lethal without the team up, and then the team up's going to be like adjusted accordingly. But Iron Man is very squishy as his main issue, and you could even literally see the Psylocke solo on the flank. If the Psylocke catches the Iron Man like this is an easy burst, and he just dies like that. On top of the enemy team having Hela keeps Iron Man in check heavy, because you like cannot peek at all without there being pressure on that Hela. So pretty tough. Not saying it's unplayable, because Lux simply did not play the correct cover, where like playing this close wall would have been probably a lot better, if we knew especially where the Psylocke was. Beware of the flankers. TV. Yeah, we have to learn a lot of the fundamental interactions before we can even start talking like macro team strategy together. So another problem here is, notice how this Psylocke has an early angle on this high ground. Part of that happens because us as tanks, we're not clearing space correctly, or even as a team, because even though the map may feel pretty linear, there's certain areas that you need to clear because that they're going to dictate the map space that the enemy team can play, right? So like if you just walk up this way as a double tank, you're naturally clearing out the Psylocke from this angle. Granted, she may or may not try to play over here, but from this location specifically on this map, it's a lot easier to push out and like take this space, clear out this angle, and then like once you have this angle, if you absolutely need, you can start setting up your own flank this way to go high ground, and then you could try to clear it that way. Or in fact, maybe you even want to go your entire team on that angle, because they've got, you know, Hela, Venom, Psylocke. So long as you're like playing on that flank and pushing out and like taking this high ground, it might be safer for us. Now they can. Good teams are always going to be like countering your rotations with their own rotations. Like for example, a Hela might see you're taking that rotation and like jump up main here, but that's where, like before when we were talking about like potentially keeping like Zac in main. Now they have Venom now, so it's a lot more dangerous. So maybe like he hides so the Venom doesn't see him, but then once the fight happens, he does a late peek, right? That's the sort of thing that you can do to get away with taking map space on your own. Especially if you call that like, okay, we're walking this way, the Venom just used his slam and his swing. That means he's no longer a dive threat. We force his resources. Zac can be extremely more aggressive on this main angle and carry us like I know he wants to, and he's trying to, right? So clearing that map space, especially against flankers. Okay, good. We cleared out the Psylocke. Didn't take very much. Oh, and there's the Venom getting solo kills. Okay, let's see what happened here. We talked about this last week, guys. We talked about peeling when the time was right. So let's see what happened here. Why did this happen? Oh, Doom.
Mm-hmm.
You're not healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no. Where's your other support in this scenario? Oh, is it Anna trolling? Oh, yeah, it's
She has
that's-
4 frames. Yeah.
she's probably bugging like walk. Yeah. Oh, okay. I forgive you.
Well, yeah. Well, I realized right after, like, why am I so DPS build?
Yeah. Okay, this is unfortunate. Let's skip to when Anna is actually. Okay. But yeah, I hope you guys can see that walking main like this forces a lot of our resources very naturally because, look, their backline plus their Hela is just getting free shots on us this entire time we're walking up the world's longest angle, right? So doing anything to cut down that angle even just a little bit, like walking right here is like they wouldn't be able to stand here at all if we had this, because we could send like one person this way and then have like the team up here. Then we're pinching their angles and we've got like flanks that force them to either push us or leave, and they're probably gonna leave as long as we like maintain someone just doesn't randomly die. So careful walking main here. Oh, we double support ulted. Unfortunate. And it was kind of bugging, so just try not to do that. Try not to stack support ults. Try to like. This is where like the benefit of ult tracking comes in play here, because you can communicate with each other like, hey, they have these ults that need to be countered. If they use this, let's try to use this. If they use that, we'll try to use that. So on and so forth. Stacking support ults is really, really tough for us to manage, because now they have 4 ults with. We only really have Magneto to like try and counter. Now look, see, now they've got the their own Cloak and Dagger ult that just completely stops our push. Where if we had like Luna Snow right now, we would have a fighting chance. And that's the last fight. So now I think we defend.
Tracking in this game is hard.
What in this game?
Ult tracking.
It is pretty difficult. Yeah, there's a lot of ults. Some ults are more important than others, though. Like enemy support ults, for example. So
Yeah.
You can start with that. And then like threatening DPS ults. It comes down a lot to like interactions. Like using Magneto ult to counter Iron Man ult is like a pretty cut and dry interaction where it's pretty easy to counter. Yeah, you just have to learn more about how they interact with each other. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. Also, this Venom is actively trolling. It's kind of hilarious. Okay. So, we forced the Venom out. We got our turret dropped. And we've got Lux looking to take this duel on the Psylocke. Zac ends up taking that duel too. So we end up forcing the Psylocke, which is pretty good. I'm worried about our front line here, because this is probably what Undoubled was thinking earlier too. But this Strange is walking up and he is not giving space at all. He's as Magneto. The 3 words that we use are poke, dive, and brawl in terms of understanding how playstyles balance around each other. Strange is, in general, a lot more brawly, and will love to take a fight in your face, especially against Magneto. If you want to play this better, you can start up early to get shots like over this wall and to get early poke. But as they walk up on you, you need to keep backing and giving space. And the hope is that you are forcing their resources as you're giving up space. You're trading those 2 things, right? And by the time that they're walking onto you here, you still have so much space to give, right? You could back up all the way here, and if you're shooting them the entire time, they walk like an entire football field, then they're not going to have any resources. And by the time, and if, so long as you're not getting your own resources, for example, if you don't get your shield forced or your bubble forced, then if they don't have a shield and they don't have a fly or whatever it may be, that's when you can sort of walk up, like hit the bubble on yourself, hit the right click on the Strange, boop him into like a corner outside of his healer LOS, and then just gank him, right? So that's like one example of how to take that tank trade. And then here is Penny. It's like, okay, you can hold a corner and that's fine, but you always need to be thinking about your retreat if you have to do it, because Penny is not exactly the most brawly character either. And I think like if I was gonna tell Cole one thing, I'd be like, please use your F, please, because you're just kind of committing to locations and dying for it. The Venom ends up getting a kill on the backline. Actually, let's see how that happened there.
That's me underestimating his damage.
Yep. It's the tendril that got you.
Yep.
So the counter to that tendril is literally just get away for a little bit, and
Yeah.
always
On
make sure-
Rocket is so tragic.
Yeah, right. Just press shift, or even like if you just like wall climbed here,
Yep.
he literally you would be unkillable in that moment.
Mhm.
So just a little bit of execution diff, you know what was wrong.
Mhm.
But yeah, for anyone who's playing against Venom, try to pay attention to those tendrils. That will be a big part of his damage combo to you, because it also slows you. So he just hits right click and it's a big circle around him. So here, Lil Undoubled is still like maintaining this position aggressively, and is like having a tragic time trying to deal with it, and just kites a little bit too late to the point where like once he's kiting, he's no longer able to do any pressure, and of course they've got the spoil advantage, so they kind of just run us down. Yeah, so just be careful about that, especially. Again, we're playing like Punisher. We were playing like on high ground, and we had our what's his name, Star-Lord holding the flank. If we're playing these high grounds, if we're playing far back, you don't need to play close. We're poking a lot more. We're forcing their resources. That's the play style. So I know it can be confusing because I'm telling you to do this in one scenario, and in the next scenario it might be completely different. Maybe you do want to play it in their face, but just start keeping track of those words and those terminologies, and we'll keep talking about it until it starts to make sense. And if you guys have any questions about this like trichotomy, then feel free to ask them like in the chats, and we can happily discuss it together like in the chats and such. So we'll keep going.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
Oh, a little close there, Zach. Yeah, you had to run. I think he had his, he needed to use his zip lines to escape. Now, yep. Fear the stagger. So part of what makes dive so strong, anything with mobility. So like in this case where the threat is Psylocke plus Venom combo, just running at you. The part of what makes that combo so strong, part of its advantages is if you're playing forward without your team, or because they have the mobility, they can chase you down and secure those kills, which means if you're not respecting you could be standing right here and not see anyone and think, oh, I'm safe, right guys? And then Venom swings and dives on you and you're like, oh, you need to respect that space. Otherwise, they're going to stagger you, and now we don't even have a forward hold on second. Like, those two deaths alone is single-handedly making this entire fight difficult for everyone. So it's a really important thing to clean up. It's not even that difficult to clean up, too. Like, literally, at the end of the point, do not let your guard down and think that you're safe always, because good teams will punish you for being too aggressive. Yep, and now we're just getting staggered because they have the mobility. We don't have any resources here to hold this. This is an interesting ult in order to punish. We actually do get a kill. I actually don't mind that ult because it can help us stabilize, but it's barely not enough. Because even though we were ulting, we still needed to get out. Still needed to get out. because you're using that ult to stabilize, and we got the kill on the exit, which is really good for us because it means that once we get our players back, if we live, we'll actually be able to recontest the space. But because we died after getting a kill, it completely invalidated our advantage. And now Lux is moving in again and taking damage.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
So, not looking great for us. We're still down 2 or 3 people because we keep staggering. So notice that, like, only now do we have 6 players, and look how much space we gave them for free because of our staggering. This is how important it is to clean up this this problem. And it's like a classic shooter game, hero shooter problem, especially in 6v6, to like get staggered over and over. So if nothing else, clean this up. Clean this up. So now we're forced to ult in disadvantage because we're just like not sure what we're doing. And like as a teammates and players, if you notice your team is like super far forward, just tell them like, hey, Zach, you're way too aggressive. You need to back up now. Whatever it takes to like ingrain this in your teammates. Don't be afraid to communicate, because we're all gonna have to suffer the consequences at the end of the day.
There's a reason why they allow you to see your teammates through the walls.
For real. And now we're just like, we're panic ulting because we don't really have much to do here. We didn't get a single fight on this entire second point. And I'll leave it at that. I think there's a lot of things here that could be worked on. If you're interested in getting better, I would recommend writing down 2 things that you want to work on from this VOD review. I'm going to post it. This will be posted on YouTube. And have discussions in the chats about the things we talk about and the things that you see as an individual and a player, because we're not going to get better as a team without building that synergy, without building the mutual understanding. And I could do these VOD reviews, but it's partially on you guys, right? Other than that, I'll take some questions and comments from the crowd. Anyone want to say anything or note anything?
Are you VOD reviewing this game, or are you doing all of these?
I was VOD reviewing just that match because I don't want to do too much, because I feel like it would probably be a lot of the same things, and you don't want to overload because you can only learn so much.
Yeah. I mean, these ones I wasn't even in this game, so I was like just trying to learn off of what.
Oh, there definitely is things to learn though,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah. Doom or Arba, any thoughts, comments, concerns?
Nope.
Sounds good.
Yeah, don't overload. Think about what mistake you made that caused you to lose the fight or die or something like that. And you can do this when you're playing by yourself with your team, whatever. And just don't make that mistake again, right? And you're going to keep doing that over and over and over and over until you are a perfect gamer, ascended being.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh.
there's a lot to be said about making sure that your practice is useful and that you're getting something out of it. We're doing a sort of meta conversation in a meeting on Thursday about that topic, so I would highly recommend you guys show up if you're interested in getting better. Other than that, see you guys next time.